We're going to analyze 3 Amazon listings, and you'll find something that you can tweak in your own listings to give yourself an edge, make that 1, 2, 3 extra sales a day, and make more money. This is effectively free coaching. People routinely pay for this stuff, and you're getting it here for free. You're welcome. Please subscribe for more of the same. Context. A lot of people email me with something like this. I'm thinking of buying the Asteroid Aim listing optimization service, but before I do, can you tell me if my listing is already optimized? I've tried really hard. Maybe it's already so good that you can't make any changes. Yes, there are certainly cases like that, and as a rule, we don't take customers if we can't add significant value to the listing. So I'll do 3 examples of varying sort of degrees of optimization. And this is what I would tell you if you walked in the door with each of these 3 sort of respective listings. So we'll start here, which is in a great niche that I think is still underserved, which is funeral guest book and funeral products in general. It's the sort of thing you don't think about, and because you don't think about it very often, a lot of sellers don't think about it either, but funerals happen all the time, and people need products to fill out the ceremony. So this is just an example, but when I if I try to answer the question whether it's optimized or not, I just look at it from the customer's perspective. We'll start with the photos. That's the first thing you see in the search results, and that's what determines whether the product gets the click into the listing initially anyway. So first things first, right? Like Amazon gives you 7 photo spots and only 1 of 7 is being used. Off the bat, this listing is 1/7 as good as it could be in the photo department. Second, the photo does not zoom, which just means that the dimensions aren't large enough when it was uploaded to Amazon to allow customers to get a closer look. And also, it does not show the product in use, which lowers conversions. By contrast, here you have this massager with Mark Zuckerberg as the model, and it will zoom really nicely. You'll be able to guess at least at the benefit of this product. And they use all 7 photo slots and even put in a couple extras. So this is obviously preferable to this. Like, which listing would you rather own? So that's that. So that's the photos. That's the visual component. As well, I guess 2 really quick things that could be sinking your sales if you're not aware of them is the review count. So obviously the jump when you go from 0 to 1 reviews, especially if the review is a good one, conversions increase quite significantly, and by the time you get to 50 reviews, you're already converting permanently higher at about 4.6%. So it's a lot of money over time. So if you have no reviews or bad reviews, that could be killing your conversions, and it may have nothing to do with optimization at all. Same with price. If your price is too low and you're an add-on item, which usually happens when you go below the $10 mark, that requires shoppers to buy a total cart of $25 or more to even buy your thing, which dampens it. And conversely, on the other side of the spectrum, if your price is too high compared to the industry average with no discernible reason for that increase in value, you won't sell very well either. So keep that in mind, the reviews and the price. Of course, those don't have anything to do with optimization, but you may already be optimized, and one of those just might be your issue. I guess moving on to the text components, which we do control in the optimization process, you're supposed to lead with the main keyword or your brand name if you're building a brand. Are you building a brand? No. But say you were, you could lead with the brand name. Or like, let's just see. When it comes to the text, I have 2 questions about optimization. Number 1 is it long? And number 2, is it good? So basically, the title can be around 150 bytes. So I have the title in here. It's showing me 51 bytes, 51 characters, basically. Amazon counts both the characters, special characters, and white space. So that's what we want to count as well. It's 51. So you could make this 3 times as long and include 3 times as many keywords, or make this 3 times as persuasive and still be well within the allotted text guidelines. So yeah, and I assume same with the bullets. Bullets can generally get up to, let's take the longest one. bullets can generally get up to, say, 200 and 250, something like that. So this is 35, so that's way below. Yeah, so obviously we need to build these out, center each bullet on a particular benefit of the product, and include a lot more keywords that are relevant to it. And the description is obviously super short. Here we have, let's see, 81 characters, where you can get up to 2,000 in most cases. So you're just missing there are a lot of opportunities missed here just because it's so short. And the other thing is, so that is it long? The question, is it good, comes down to how keyword dense is it. So this is Merchant Words. It will show you approximately how many people are searching for your thing every month or for a given keyword. Loving Memory actually has more search volume than I thought at 30,000, which is pretty good. The exact phrase, 7,000. So you can certainly get some traffic off of that. Memorial guest book. Let's go back and see what. So they're not without good keywords. It's just, yeah, so you're getting, call it 30,000 off in Loving Memory and 35,000 off Memorial guest book. What I would have suggested perhaps is funeral guest book, because that's just what I would call it. And that is there at 50,000. Memorial is slightly less at 35,000. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't have Memorial in there. It just means that it should probably precede Memorial in the title, if at all possible, if you can structure it that way, and if funeral guest book is relevant to your product. You want the highest relevance and the highest traffic keyword to go first. So yeah, that's what I would say about that. Similarly, you can even look at what competitors are doing, right? I think Celebration of Life, yeah, Memorial book, I think we have that. Share a Memory, Keepsake, Condolence. Okay, so I think we're missing Condolence. Yeah, so Condolence books, 17,000. So not as much as what I would assume to be the main keyword in funeral guest book, but still, we should have the word condolence in here, and it is not there just yet. So we would add that and do a lot of keyword research. There are two other places that I suggest getting keywords aside from Merchant Words. So from here, obviously, this gives you a lot of ideas. It's sort of the Google Keyword Planner tool of Amazon. But in addition to that, I would advise just looking at competitor listings and seeing what they're doing, and checking against Merchant Words to see if what they're doing makes sense, because you don't want to follow blindly, but you also don't want to miss out on keyword opportunities. And then effectively, you can also use this drop-down suggestion bar. Typically, the ones that are higher here have more search volume, and the ones that are lower have less. So you can start with funeral and funeral A, funeral D, funeral F, funeral G, right? Funeral guest book. But you can see some people are asking for hardcover. Some people are asking for removable pages, loose leaf, all of these things. If your product has these characteristics, then I urge you to add them, because it just helps you get found for those things when people look for them. And how do you know how important the various keywords are? Merchant Words. That's effectively how you know. But you can get ideas from Merchant Words and the suggestion bar and your competitors, and if you source out from all three and find the best ones, well, you're very well situated. And that's what we do at Asteroid Aim as a service. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. So and I guess the last thing is just, if you're look at your category to see if you're in a relevant category. This might be an issue as well. So here in visitor register seems relevant to me. Calendars and planners a little bit less so. But maybe you'd want to look at I don't know, other competitors that are doing well and have a similar. So I'm picking out these two because they look like sign-in books that you would use. And let's see if their categories are different from yours. Maybe we're missing something. So record books. Are we in record books? Visit registers, personal registers. No, we're not in record books. Where's this one? Visitor registers, I think we have that. Okay, so this one's in the same categories as us. But yeah, you just want to look at, you'd want to try to find a correlation between, so this product is actually number 2 in visitor registers, which is like pretty darn good. But you'd want to see if there's any, if it makes sense for us to be in record books. For example, just run a quick Jungle Scout sort of sales estimation scan on these 2 categories. So here we have record books and here we have visitor registers. Record books and visitor registers. Our product is already ranked inside of visitor registers, but we're not in record books. So I'm just going to see if that's sort of worth our while. The revenues are north of 6,000-7,000 across the board. Here they're a little bit lower, so it might be worth targeting some keywords that have to do with record books, as we see that the revenues estimated at least are a little bit higher. So I would go into record books also and see if there's any sort of, I mean, doesn't look like it. You need to do a lot more sort of searching and combing through, but yeah, since there may be a pattern between higher revenues and being in this category, it's certainly worth a look. So that is the first listing. This is a case where I think we can add a lot of value based on what I just said. This is a sort of an intermediate case, because if you compare it to this one, the seller here is using their, at least in terms of the title, they're using their title count more effectively. So here we are just at under the 200 mark. I believe at north of 200 for this category you would be done. So they so again, my 2 questions: is it long and is it good? Is it long? That's it's getting longer. It's like certainly better than this, right? I see a guarantee here. There should not be a guarantee. Amazon does not look kindly upon third-party sellers offering alternative customer service solutions outside of Amazon's A to Z guarantee. So I do not recommend having a guarantee. So is it long? Yes, well, it's certainly longer. The other question, if you'll recall, is it good? So I think you're not sure. It could be long, but it could not be very keyword dense. That's one thing, right? So just as an example, if you have, from a search volume perspective, assembled in the USA versus what I would assume to have more search volume, which is made in the USA, there's no real reason why you would go with assembled with an 800 monthly search versus made in the USA. You could have your cake and eat it too here by saying, assembled and made in the USA, right? You could do both if this is important to you. As a, because I know it's technically different from a manufacturing perspective versus made. So perhaps it isn't made in the USA, perhaps it's just assembled, which is why it's there. But you should certainly, look into it at least. A big, you can make improvements to your listing right away if you just have, you have fool's gold, but then you look at derivatives of your main keyword, which I assume fool's gold is the main keyword here, but you'd want to look for other things like every bit counts, right? So if you can conceive of this being sold as a party favor, you could certainly do that. It looks like they're riding off some of this crystal healing stuff. Kids and adults, always good. Yeah, so I mean, there's certainly been an optimization effort here. Similarly with the photos, which we forgot to talk about. It looks like, yeah, so they zoom, right? So that's good. They zoom, but if this is, if you're saying how this is educational and you're saying how it's for kids and adults alike, what if you got some people interacting with the gold and showing how amazed they were? That's clearly what Amazon is trying to do with the ads on your listing, right? So they're showing happy or satisfied kids with these with this educational sort of toy. So and they do that only because it increases conversions. Sure, it costs a little bit to hire the models, but either we can take care of all that for you, or you do it, but it's worth it in the long run. Yeah, because this is classified in learning, geology, earth, and sciences. it's very child heavy, right? I think that would make sense. If you see the recommended products, it's all STEM sort of products as well. So, yeah, I mean, moderate value that we can provide in terms of the photos. The content is longer, but is it particularly keyword dense, or are there holes that we can poke in that? Reviews and price look good. If you're fortunate enough to have, pretty much all 5-star reviews, here you can convert well on pay-per-click ads, so I'm not particularly worried. So yeah, it's good. It's like looking better, and I think it could be even better. And now when we go to Mark Zuckerberg's listing, there's very clear signs of optimization. So for sure, like they're using all 7 photo spots. They have a model there to increase the conversions. They have both use cases, so there's a man and a woman, so they don't miss anyone. More advanced still, they're using, zoomable obviously, but some graphic work here, which is great. Reviews and price are not the issue. Yeah, so I'm almost, here we have made in the USA. Coincidence? You tell me. But yeah, so each of the bullet points focus on a singular benefit. So when you're scanning, which most customers just scan instead of read, they see, oh great, I believe in that. Cool, glad that's sturdy, it won't break on me while I'm massaging myself. Yeah, and yeah, I guarantee, again, I don't advocate it. But yeah, and then, some use of enhanced brand content, which is great. So Bodyback, which is the brand here, has taken the time to complete the Amazon brand registry, and they have deployed this EBC content. So not only does it give you more space to rank for keywords, but they've bolded it, more graphics work, and yeah, I like it. It's very good. So I would be, if this was your listing, I would be hesitant to make significant changes, especially if it's working for you. If it's not working for you, that's a different story. So the last sort of deciding factor about whether you need to optimize further is just the statistics. So like the 2 things that I look at are sessions primarily. So you'd want to look at, that's basically how many people are looking at your listing per day. That's obviously really important. But then the unit session percentage, like how many of those sessions result in a unit being sold. That's effectively your conversion rate. It should be sitting at around 10%. If it's less than that, then I think there may be some room for improvement. If it's more than that, you don't necessarily want to mess with what's already working. So that is so that's my assessment of 3 different listings at 3 different degrees of optimization, small, medium, large, as it were. And yeah,